Hey Krishna dear devotees, and welcome. It's so good to be with you all. Today we're going to dive right into the heart of the Bhagavad-gita as it is, exploring the really essential teachings of chapter 6. This is Dhyana-yoga, the yoga of meditation. All right, so here's our game plan for this chapter. First up, we're going to really look at what makes a true yogi. Then we'll tackle that huge challenge, the mind. After that, we'll explore the traditional ladder of Dhyana-yoga and see why it's so tough. But don't worry, because we'll also discover the path Kṛṣṇa recommends for this age. And, so importantly, we'll hear Kṛṣṇa's promise that no effort is ever wasted. We'll wrap it all up by finding out who Kṛṣṇa himself calls the greatest yogi of all. Okay, so right out of the gate, Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa starts by redefining a couple of really important terms for us. What does it actually mean to be a yogi or a sannyasi? So think about this for a second. Kṛṣṇa is immediately turning the common idea of a renunciate completely on its head. He's saying, look, it's not about just sitting around doing nothing, not letting a fire or performing duties. True renunciation, that's an internal state. It's all about your consciousness, about being unattached to the results of your work while still doing what you're meant to do. And Srila Prabhupada really unpacks this in the purport. He explains that the real test, the criterion of perfection, is acting in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. It's about shifting our motivation from what's in it for me to how can I please the Supreme? Because we're all parts of that supreme whole. Our real function is to act for the satisfaction of that whole, for Kṛṣṇa. Just imagine that. If every single action we performed was for the satisfaction of the Lord, well, that person is the real deal. They are the perfect yogi. All right, so now we get to the heart of the matter, the central challenge that this entire chapter really revolves around, and that's the mind. And here, Kṛṣṇa lays out this incredible dichotomy. He says the mind can be your best friend, or it can be your worst enemy. It's a powerful idea, isn't it? The same mind that can drag us down can also be the very thing that lifts us up. The whole point of the yoga system is to figure out how to make the mind our friend, our ally on this path. And this slide really breaks it down, doesn't it? We've all experienced this. When the mind is uncontrolled, it just goes wherever it wants, serving lust, anger, greed, and that's the cause of our bondage. But, and this is the key, when that same mind is conquered, it actually agrees to follow the direction of the supersoul. It becomes the very cause of our liberation. Same mind, just a different master. So Kṛṣṇa then goes on to describe the traditional method for taming the mind. This is the path of Ashtanga yoga. And it's really described like climbing a ladder, a very steep, very difficult ladder to self-realization. I mean, just look at these steps. First, you have to find a secluded, sacred place. You have to prepare a very specific kind of seat. Then you sit, hold your body just so, erect, stare at the tip of your nose. Oh, and you have to observe complete celibacy. This is a highly technical, super demanding process. The whole point is to bring that mind under total control so you can finally meditate on Kṛṣṇa within the heart. So after hearing all of this, a very natural question comes up. Is this even possible? Especially for us today? Well, it turns out we're not alone in thinking that. Arjuna himself, speaking for all of us, basically raises his hand and says, wait a minute. And listen to his words. He says the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and strong. He thinks subduing it is more difficult than controlling the wind. Now think about this. This is Arjuna saying this, a great warrior, a man of immense discipline, a personal friend of Kṛṣṇa. If he found this process practically impossible 5,000 years ago, what does that say about our chances in this crazy, distracted age we live in? Arjuna's honesty here is such a blessing because it opens the door for Kṛṣṇa to reveal the real path for this age. And Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, brings in this definitive quote from the Brihan Naradiya Purana. It says that in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, which sounds pretty familiar, right? The only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. And just to make sure we get it, it says, there is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So, you see the genius here? It's a completely different strategy. Instead of trying to force the mind to be empty, which is like trying to stop a waterfall, bhakti-yoga says, okay, mind, you want to be active? Here, engage in this. We give it something higher, something positive to focus on. We engage it fully in Kṛṣṇa. And when the mind is absorbed in something wonderful, it doesn't have time to be agitated by anything else. This, of course, leads to another really important practical question from Arjuna. He asks, okay, Krishna, but what happens if someone starts on this path with real faith, but, they don't make it? They fail to achieve perfection in one lifetime. Are they just lost? Do they lose out on both the material and the spiritual worlds? And Lord Krishna's answer is just so beautiful and reassuring. He says, my friend, one who does good is never overcome by evil. He makes it crystal clear. A person engaged in these kinds of transcendental, auspicious activities does not meet with destruction. No sincere spiritual effort is ever lost. He then explains exactly what happens. The unsuccessful yogi gets another chance. They might be born into a family of righteous people, or even an aristocratic family. Or, in a very rare case, they might be born into a family of wise devotees. And the amazing part is, they don't have to start from scratch. They automatically revive the divine consciousness from their previous life and just pick up right where they left off. It's like Krishna has this divine safety net under us. Nothing is ever wasted. And Srila Prabhupada gives this wonderful story in the purport to illustrate the point. It's about a little sparrow who was determined to empty the entire ocean, one drop at a time, with her tiny beak. Now, that seems impossible, right? But her determination was so great that it attracted the attention of Garuda, the Lord's great eagle carrier, who came to help. The lesson for us is that even if our own efforts feel as small as that sparrow's, if we are sincere and determined, we will attract the Lord's help. Our effort attracts His grace. Okay, this brings us to the climax of the entire chapter. After discussing all these different paths and processes, Krishna is about to give his final verdict. He's going to declare who he considers to be the greatest yogi of all. First, he makes a bold statement. He says a yogi is greater than an ascetic, greater than a philosopher, greater than someone just working for fruits. He tells Arjuna, therefore, in all circumstances, be a yogi. So he's really elevating the position of the yogi. But which kind of yogi is the best? And this is where everything we've talked about comes together. Srila Prabhupada explains that all these other forms of yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, they're like different rungs on the yoga ladder. They're all meant to bring us step by step to the very top. And the top of that ladder, the culmination of all yoga, is bhakti-yoga, linking with the Supreme Lord through loving devotional service. And then comes the final verse, the ultimate conclusion of chapter 6. Krishna says, and of all yogis, of all of them, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. And then he adds, that is my opinion. This is it. This is the pinnacle of the whole yoga system, the bhakti yogi, the devotee who is always thinking of Krishna with love. So this really leaves us with a question to carry with us, doesn't it? A question to reflect on in our own practice. In all my circumstances, how can I become that greatest yogi? The verse itself gives us the answer. It's about faith, abiding in Him, thinking of Him, and serving Him. Thank you all so much for joining in this explainer on Dhyana-yoga. Hare Krishna.